This UCSD TV program is presented by University of California Television. Like what you learn? Visit our website or follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the latest programs. Also, make sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube original channel, UCTV Prime, available only on YouTube.
The Stuart Collection is an ongoing program commissioning contemporary artists to come to the campus and think about doing a project that will somehow relate to what goes on here. We take the proposals to our advisory board, which is composed of people who have spent their lives thinking about contemporary art. And when that group approves a proposal, it's my job then to integrate it with the campus and to raise the money. We do not use any university funds or student funds for these works. I raise the money for them all. The UCSD Stuart Collection is unique. There are some commissions that go on at other universities, but as for ongoing programs, there are very, very few.
Because we have this extraordinary campus to work on, it's possible to work within this community and derive the benefits of the talents that exist here to help artists develop ideas that wouldn't find a home in the normal public sphere.
We now are working on our 18th project, which is very exciting, by Dohosa.
I knew I was going to do something that reflects this particular place. Mm-hmm. The campus and then university campus and people who lives here. So I proposed the idea that this small house crashed into one of the tall university building.
And you thought of that kind of in the abstract. You didn't have a specific building in mind.
No. So I remember I had probably two drawings, I guess, as a proposal. One was the exterior. Mm-hmm. This tall building. It didn't really show which building. Mm-hmm. It's just big, massive institutional building, and there's a little right. House was kind of stuck, and
which it may have been stuck, fallen down and gotten stuck, or it may have actually emerged or come up from the bottom.
Yeah, because at the end, what I was hoping was make something a little bit ambiguous, whether it is actually coming out of the bigger building or it's actually went into the bigger building. What I was more interested was the connection of two different spaces. That little house, that's someone's home, mm-hmm. and it's a domestic architecture, and and the space, the inside of the house is very private space, mm-hmm. and the university building is institutional and public.
We assisted him in developing this amazing idea for a house that has sort of magically come down from the sky and attached itself to the upper stories of a modernist building here on campus. That idea evolved from a very straightforward sketch, a very simple sketch that he provided to us. And it was our job, really, our task, with Doho, who came back to visit. It was through that sort of collaboration that we finally found a site. And that site actually evolved into not just a little house that was attached to a building, the side of a building, but it became part of the roof of this building, or sort of attached itself to the roof of this building so that the house could have a front yard. It was a house that was tilted at a fairly severe angle. Now the house remains tilted at this fairly severe angle of about 10 degrees, but the floor of the house will actually be at a lesser angle, about 4 degrees. That floor will be at a different angle from, obviously, the world around you, and also at a different angle from the house that you're standing in. And so you'll be looking through a crooked window at a crooked world.
So I got really excited, but I knew that that is a kind of crazy idea, and maybe practically it could be impossible to do it.
Because it's a university campus, it's a somewhat protected context. It's a place where an artist can take a chance. It's not a place where there's a level of trust between who's doing the commissioning, namely us, the Stuart Collection, and the artist, that it's possible for the artist to come up with an idea, but the artist doesn't have to figure out how to build that idea, or how to, or all the different manifestations or problems or issues that are going to come up in connection with that idea. That's our job. There's an illusion that we're looking for, and all of these technical decisions have to be in the service of that illusion. In the Fallen Star example, having that house look like it's perforating the building, really sticking through and has crashed into the building, is a lot harder than simply building, a kind of extension on the building. It has to be both, it has to be supported. It obviously can't have crashed in there. But that illusion can sometimes be very complex. When the first time I saw it, I was in San Francisco, and Mary sent it to me. You sent it to Mary. And her message was, "I am so sad. This is so fantastic, but it seems completely impossible." I remember picking up the phone right away and called and said, "No, we can do this." I had no idea if we could or not.
Right.
But it seemed like just we had to do it. So
Matthew is overseeing the production. Doho's in London or Seoul or New York, Seoul, Korea, or New York, or wherever he is. He approves every move that we make in terms of what the work is going to look like, but we can figure out how to make the roof waterproof, how to make the garden grow, how to get the house, build the house and get it up there.
In construction, we're used to building everything off of plumb lines and level lines. So this has really kind of thrown every discipline in construction for a loop. Because there's no reference point to start your construction from. There's no good surface that you can say, okay, this is a level, sound, plumb foundation, let's go ahead and build off of it. Everything we had to do was using an XYZ coordinate system, which was really complicated geometry. Communicating that those angles and the precise locations where the walls were to go up and where they go to was probably the most difficult part of this project. It's just communicating to the workers, how they're to build these walls, because they're very non-typical for construction. Safety is actually my number one priority on the job site every day. I want to make sure that all the guys that show up leave the same way they came. I've actually done quite a bit of work out here on this campus, so I kind of know what the students are like. They're looking at their cell phones and on their skateboards and looking down, running underneath a forklift. So I'm a little bit familiar with that, being on this campus. So it's just a matter of watching out for the students and the faculty to make sure they don't put themselves in harm's way. But the media coverage on this project and the interest, if you will, is a lot more than what I've seen in any other project that I've been on.
Is because of the feeling of this being the point of view of the house.
Oh, I see.
The artist, he's a very gracious individual. He's very easy to talk to, very mild demeanor, and I really enjoy working with him. He's been very happy with everything out here. He really hasn't asked me to change anything. Matthew Gregoire, on the other hand, with the Stuart collection, is a little bit more demanding. Great guy to work with. You know, he's got certain things he wants done, and he wants to get them done, and he's got his vision of how he sees this thing, and so he's had his input.
I was very impressed. Wow, this guy's definitely up for
For a challenge, yeah.
Everybody knows what the hoisting plan is. You know, they know that the house is going to pick up right where it's at. It's going to spin clockwise and then elevate and land on the building. So everybody knows the path of the cottage, and they'll be staying out of that path of travel, if you will. The other things are just the coordination, the amount of people that it takes to get this thing actually put up on the roof, because there's so many different disciplines. The crane company will really take over when they show up with their crane, because I'm relying on them to you know, give me any indicators that something isn't safe or something isn't working right. So they'll pretty much take over the job, and they pull in. And then just getting the other coordination done with the welders. The welders have to make all the structural connections once we land the cottage. And then my guys have to go inside the cottage and actually make up all the anchor bolts inside, put all the nuts and the washers on, and tighten everything down. So it's a joint effort with a lot of different disciplines, and it's just a matter of coordinating everybody at the right time. There's just some inherent nerves that are involved when you pick up something that's 70,000 pounds and structurally attach it to another building. Now that this cottage will be setting, we'll be finishing up the waterproofing details, and then starting with the planting and getting all the trees and the ground cover up there. And it'll start looking like kind of looking like his conceptual image.
The architecture, sticking into the architecture sort of towards the top of the building, but definitely into the building, is a very contained thing. It's just, and it's really about this interstitial, immediate space.
Right.
This is so expansive. It's a whole rooftop. It's extraordinary view. The plants and the life that you're talking about will overflow.
Right.
And all of that is so, sort of draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me have been an extraordinary thing to sort of
Yes.
see happen.
Right.
Even though I knew this was going to be what it is in terms of, I knew every aspect of
Right.
it. But to see this juxtaposition of a very private space and in a tremendously public context that's visible from miles away, so it makes it even more public, even more lonely there. And yet it's also much more of an environment because there's an outside and an inside. So
Right.
you enter this whole kind of much more intimate through several phases, the garden and then the house. It's to me an extraordinary series of changes.
Yes.
It's not done. It continues to grow and it will continue to change, just like a house will change and the garden will grow. And that's a beautiful idea too, that it's something not just in space. It's not just about one space and another space or one kind of space and another kind of space, but it's something in time.
People say, how can you call that art? Well, what is art? Art is an experience that hopefully takes you someplace you haven't been.
I know my friends kind of look at it as just another piece of art to just add to the campus. I feel as though if they explain the art piece better, then we would be more open to trying to figure out what it is.
Do I like that house? That's a complicated question. I know that a lot of people were not supportive of it because they thought that university money was going towards it, but it's all private donations. And I think the thing I like about it is that it gives a little bit of a softer, non-institutional feel to this pretty institutional place.
I just like that it's on the engineering building and it looks like bad engineering, but it actually took a lot of engineering effort to make it look unconventional and bad.
Oh, it's been an incredible process watching it be constructed, I guess. I missed the part of getting it off the ground and onto the top of the building, but I can imagine it being quite a feat.
Personally, I don't have any interest in art. That's just not my bent. But the positive influence or effect, if you will, that it's had on other people around this campus, I think it's going to be a wonderful addition to the university. A lot of students talk about it. I've heard faculty talk about it. People usually are talking about it with a smile on their face, and so it seems like it's a real nice source for goodwill. And in that respect, I'm happy to be part of the project.
When I actually was here on the November 15th, and when I saw the actual lifting, it just blew me away, beyond my imagination. And the most striking thing was sort of level of involvement by all the people and parties who got involved in this project. Yeah. And that was quite impressive and actually quite moving. Always it exceeds your sort of expectation and imagination in a way, because you see this project from different points on the campus, and then each time you discover different angle of the house, it's just a completely new experience. And so it will take a while. I think it's not a project that I think it will slowly reveal.
It slowly reveals itself. Yeah.
Yes.
He came here to go to the Rhode Island School of Design and to Yale after that, and he felt totally displaced, and he felt like he had to find himself again. Many students have been through a kind of displacement or left their home for the first time and come to this place where there isn't anything resembling a home. You can go now into this little house on this building and goes out, and because the house is sort of cantilevered off the edge of the building, you get an intense feeling of displacement, which, you know, is kind of scary. I mean, I'm nervous about the experience of going out there, but I think that's the part of the point. And from the house, you know, 7 stories up, you'll be able to see a lot of the other housing on campus, be able to see out beyond. I think it'll be an unforgettable image as well as an amazing experience.
Because it's a university campus, it's a somewhat protected context. It's a place where an artist can take a chance. It's not a place where there's a level of trust between who's doing the commissioning, namely us, the Stuart Collection, and the artist, that it's possible for the artist to come up with an idea, but the artist doesn't have to figure out how to build that idea or how to, you know, or all the different manifestations or problems or issues that are going to come up in connection with that idea. That's our job. This is an institution that is built on experiment, and if the Stuart Collection is going to keep to its principles, it has to be unpredictable, and it has to bring great people here, bring them here to do things that are experimental, that push not just their aesthetic limits, but maybe technical limits of how things can fit together. I think it's wonderful that the Stuart Collection continues to sort of lay claim to different kinds of space.
I always say that this is not about taste. It's not about decorating the campus in a cosmetic way. It is about providing experiences for people to think about. You know, some people will respond and some people won't, but the fact that they're there and the fact that people remember them, these are all memorable images or memorable experiences, means that they come back to students in ways that they didn't think about, I think, when they were here. Art is really about paying attention, and that's what we all need to do in the world in order to understand the world that we live in.